something different. Today, we are going to watch Crystal Level 90 videos and I'm gonna react to them. And by react, I mean maybe I'll give my opinion, maybe I'll give my insights on the characters. I don't know, I haven't done this thing. And yeah, so maybe the VOD will be uploaded on my channel. Let's see about this multiple Crystal Level 90 videos that I'm about to watch. So I got here Broadway Saiyan, I got here Simply Lost. The maybe I'll credit them. Well, actually, let me credit them. So I'll just open my notepad here before we.
All right, guys, and welcome back to
Before we react to them as content. Does Black Nero have one? He does. Okay. So now we got 3 videos. It's all about Noel and Onion Knight, I think. And we'll react to them. Let's compare their insights. And let's have fun, okay? So let's start off with what was that? Broadway Saiyan. Welcome back.
What's up, everybody? 40 the Broadway Saiyan here. Welcome back again to my YouTube channel, this time with a video on Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia. So this video is going to be a start of a new series for Dissidia that I like to call The Art of. And what I'm going to be doing with this series is going over a specific character that's getting a new upgrade soon in Global Opera Omnia. So then that way you guys have an idea of how they play, what kind of characters you should be using for them, and if you want to be investing into them fully. Now, I want to give you guys a full disclosure. This is not going to be a should you pull video. I'm not trying to convince you to pull for the character. I simply just want you guys to know what the character does with their brain.
I pull for everyone right now. I'm not even kidding. My gems are in the 300k. I mean, that's a lot less than what is. Yeah, it's on the 300k, and I think I have 970 tickets. Although it's 975 because of the login. But yeah, this is my updated tracker. It still doesn't have any burst materials. So I don't know. Let me check first if if the troop got some updated. Updated guide, resource planner or something. Nope, there's no resource planner. Well, yeah. So yeah, let's continue on with the video.
Brand new upgrades and who you could potentially pair them up with. If you guys are looking for like the nitty-gritty stuff like percentages and things like that, stuff that I used to go over with guides, you guys can check out several resources that I highly recommend. Tonberry Troop, Dissidia Compendium, Dissidia Database, or even other Dissidia Opera Omnia Discord servers, such as like the TCC podcast. We have Dystopia. We have the official main chord server. There's other servers out there with very knowledgeable players that can give you that data if you guys are really looking for the nitty-gritty stuff. But I decided for this one, I just want this to be straightforward, show you guys what the character does, what are their strengths, what are some ways that you could work around their weaknesses, and then that way when you guys do decide to pull for the character, then you have an idea of how they work. So my punching bag for this Art of Noel, this is going to be the Art of Noel, because we're talking about Noel for this video, is going to be Lufenia Bahamut. I just wanted to keep it simple, so that way I have an easy punching bag so I don't get any interruptions. So I took a party of Null, I took Bartz, and I also took Kuja. Kuja is just there, honestly, for the orb, just in case I accidentally trigger it. So when Null's turn comes around, we're gonna start talking about him. Alright, let's get that holy enchant, all that good stuff. Alright, so Null, for those of you that don't remember, he is a DPS unit and he specializes in re-breaking. Pretty much the plus versions of his skill 1 and his skill 2 will cancel break and then...
You know, after all this time, I only get to use Null when his LD came out, and I really don't know how to use him. There's a guy in Twitter who is also making YouTube videos. His name is Cross13. He's a Null expert. So if you want Null runs, go sub to him.
Re-break, so that's kind of his spiel. His LD is really strong because what it does is it gives him a buff that every time he breaks the target with pretty much any button that you press, he's going to get an additional Brave plus HP attack. So you want to make sure that LD buff is active. He does not have it active at the start of combat, so it's highly recommended that you press the LD before you do anything else with Null. Remember, on his skill 1, he also has access to the Ice and Wind. This could be problematic when you're coming across against bosses that absorb either one of the elements, but it's easily rectifiable if you equip him with a call such as Onion Knight if they absorb ice, or for example Fujin if they absorb wind. So you could bypass things like that. I think I said that backwards, if anyone in the comments wants to clarify, but you guys know what I mean. So then that...
I don't think that's backwards. Onion is ice, Fujin is wind, right? Yeah.
way you guys can kind of bypass, you know, certain elemental absorption. His EX and his BT, which is going to be his brand new skill that he's getting on Global Suit, both have defense ignore, so it hits pretty hard. And with the C90 coming around, his EX getting an upgrade makes it hit super hard. Now something important...
Yeah, that's something important on the C90. We're getting EX extensions. What does that mean is we're getting upgrades on EX weapons. They will be passive on Crystal 85, I think. Crystal 85 is the EX upgrade passive. Crystal 88 is the C65 passive. So you can equip that and your C65 lasts much longer. And I think it gives more stats. And then C90, you're gonna equip Ultima weapons. So that's the meat. So if you're lacking on crystals, you can use you can just upgrade a character to C85 and you will have the EX extension. But do note, C90, when you upgrade a character to C90, you get Ultima orbs that are going to be used to upgrade your Ultima weapons and even creating Ultima weapons. So necessarily you don't hoard Ultima the new tier crystals. Once you get them, upgrade them, and you get an Ultima core or a Providence core. I'll just call it Ultima core, so nothing can be so it's not confusing. And if you take the character that you've upgraded to C90 in a Lufenia, any Lufenia, that includes the old Shinryu, the first ever Lufenia, any Lufenia fight. So if you take them, you will get a bonus 5 Ultima core. And if you have Mog Pass, I think you get bonus cores. Premium Mog Pass, you get bonus cores to forge your Ultima weapon of your choosing. I guess we need to react to an Ultima weapon video now, huh? We can do that. I mean, Black Nero has a good guide on Ultima weapon. Let's see for Null first.
about Null is that you always want to have access to this Brave plus plus command, which is Fear Siphon plus plus, because what this does is it applies a gravity effect, and then it does 4 Brave hits, and if Null breaks the target, he's going to get instant turn rate, and he's also going to get his EX immediately charged. And like I said, you always want to have access to this EX as much as possible, because this is a very hard hit.
Wait, he got insta charge on his EX when I use Pure Siphon? I never knew that. I never knew that. Huh. Never knew that.
Hitting EX once he gets his C90. Now his burst effect in itself, I'm gonna let you guys know that the party effects are kind of generic. He gives brave damage cap up to the party, and then whenever you're breaking or attacking a broken target, you get the HP damage up, and you also get the brave damage up. So it's pretty generic. There are other burst effects that do that, but the selling point for this burst effect is the self effects that he gets for himself, because what it does is while this is active, you're always going to have free access to his skill 1 and his skill 2, and it's also going to give him a 50% faster charge rate for his EX, which is powerful because you always want to be pressing that EX button as much as possible. So we're just going to go ahead and kind of play through here. So like I said, you want to start off with his LD because you want that LD buff up, and his LD does inflict break, so in case targets are broken, it's just going to break them. So then that way, as you can see right there, we have access to his his additional attack from that LD buff. And also something to note about the LD buff is that it provides brave damage up and HP damage up, so it's very important to have that, because if you don't, his other weapons, which are his 15 CP and 35 CP, the buffs that you get from those skills, they don't provide brave damage up and HP damage up. So Null's definitely going to want that LD. Pretty much this character being a DPS character, you're going to want full investment if you're planning on pulling.
At this point, you're in the crystal level 90. You might as well get the LD of a character, to be honest. Even the EX. You got a passive there that it upgrades your EX. So, I don't want to hear any more excuses. I don't have the EX of this guy. Because it's slowly becoming, EX is slowly becoming a must now. It has been becoming a must since Lupenia entered. So, yeah.
For the character. All right, so with Bart, I put him as a partner because I like Bart as an Aura bot. So I'm just going to go right into BT for this demo. All right. And I'm going to try to set this.
If you like a Bart's run, Chris 5258 does Bart's. It's the Bart's Blitzkrieg Bop videos. So yeah, check it out. He has Bart's on every run in Lupenia. I don't want to do sagas anymore because I keep on pulling, and the value of the LD that I pulled is gonna diminish if I do a saga. What can I say? Like collecting stuff.
This up to where we can get access to the Fear Siphon, so then you guys get to see it in action. Alright, with Kuja, let's just do this. There you go. Alright, let's actually see if we can get that to happen by using his C65 here. Come on, let's... I just want you guys to see it in action, so you guys know how important it can be. There we go. All right, so remember, you always want access to this Brave Attack plus plus, this Fear Siphon plus plus. It's pretty easy to have that active. Just make sure he has access to both his buffs, either from his skill 1 or skill 2, and his EX buff. So then that way you'll always have access to that. So here we go. And as you can see, we have his EX fully charged up, which is great. We also have free skill uses active, and now we have access to this very powerful EX, which is upgraded for his C90. Remember, this has defense ignore. It does a ton of damage now. And as you can see right there, we did some pretty...
661,100 Piper and EX. Not bad. Not bad at all.
pretty significant damage with that EX, about 660k. He can actually do more depending on what kind of modifiers or what kind of a party setup you're running, but that's pretty much Null in the spiel there. We're gonna go ahead and try to get access now to his burst, and that way you guys get to see that in action. With Bart's, let's do this. I'm purposely getting 3 stacks of Bart's burst effects so we get that insane Brave refund. Okay, let's go ahead and LD with Kuja. Awesome. Alright, so let's go ahead and go into the burst effect now. So he's gonna do an insane amount of damage. It has defense ignore. Alright, with Bart's, let's just do this. Let's go ahead and press EX with Kuja here. Alright, so now let's go ahead and go right into Null once again. So remember, when you have his burst effect active, you're going to get party brave damage cap up, and then when you're attacking or breaking a broken target, that's where you get the party brave damage up, and you also get the party HP damage up. So we're just going to go right into burst and just launch off that EX. There we go. Alright, and then remember, he also has free skill usage on his C65 as well as his
874k with the thing up, not bad. The burst effect up, not bad.
Skill 1 and skill 2. So if between the choice of the two, I actually would just rather, in this case, I would rather just go with the free skill usage for his skill 2. There you go. So now we have his buffs up from both his EX and as well as his either skill 1 or skill 2. Let's just go ahead and use LD just for the video. You can also get a refresh on that LD buff. But he's really not that difficult to play. You just have to understand how some of his skills work, you know, how his re-break works, and also making sure that you set up that Fear Siphon, which we have access to it right now. So you know what? Let's go ahead and just for the sake of the video, so you guys get to see it in action, do that again. Here we go. Oh wait, actually, you know what? I made a mistake. That does not work in the burst effect. Do not do that, guys. Again, I'm still getting used to doing this series since it's something new that I'm going to be doing. But hopefully it helps you guys out. Okay, so don't do that. Don't do that. That's an oof there on my...
Huh. I'm confused.
part, but don't do Fear Siphon plus during the burst phase. It's not going to give you another access to the EX. All right. That was my bad. All right, and let's go ahead and get his burst off. That is Null, guys. That is Null after getting his upgrades in action. So some key things to remember about Null. Remember, he specializes in rebreaking and because he is a DPS unit, if you're going to be using him, he wants full investment, meaning you probably want to blue his armor, you're going to want to fully green his burst weapon, and you're probably also going to want to have, you know, full access to the rest of his kit if you're going to be investing in this character. Remember, because his skill 1 does have access to the ice and wind imperil, just plan accordingly with specific calls if you're going to be coming across a boss that happens to absorb either one of those elements. Remember to always have that LD buff active because you get that additional Brave and HP dump as long as you have that active. And also make sure every now and then to keep his other buffs active, which are from his skill 1 and his EX. So then that way you're always going to have access to the Fear Siphon plus Brave command. Because remember, once you use that, if he's breaking the target with it, he's going to get an instant turn and he's going to have instant access to his EX ability, which is very powerful with his C90. His BT, remember, if you're going to be using his BT, the party effect is okay, but the selling point is the free skill uses for his C65 skill 1 and skill 2, and as well as having a faster charge rate for his EX. Now, sample team members that are possibly going to pair very well with him. Aura bots such as Bart's, for example, is fantastic for him because Bart's also has that Wind Imperil aura. I believe it comes from his, I think it's skill 2 or skill 1. Either one of those provide him that buff that has that Wind Imperil aura. And then the burst effect itself also Wind Enchants. And then if you have it at 3 stacks, it gives that powerful Brave Refund because Null actually doesn't have a lot of Brave Refund himself. So that could definitely help him out.
Good video, 40. Let's 38 minutes. You know what? I think I've had enough with Null. Let's Onion Knight BT plus. Okay, let's find out.
And welcome back to another Opera
We've already figured out about Null. Let's go with Onion Knight. Just Onion Knight here. This is Simply Lost's video. Let's react.
So seeing as now we are in the C90 era, we're going to be talking about EX reworks as well for this Who Should You BT Plus and for future ones as well. So first off, we'll start off with Onion Knight's rework. So with his LD being the only thing getting rework, he now starts off with his overhead, which lasts for 6 turns at the start of the quest. Now, whenever you use his LD ability, he now deals 50% splash damage to non-targets after his first attack. But then,
wait, really? It doesn't start? It doesn't start with job level 99 on a battle? Let me check this out. Hold on a second. Let's cross-check. It doesn't start with job level 99. I haven't used Onion Knight in ages. Let's see. We need to look at this. Also, I don't have Onion Knight's burst. Let's see. I mean, if we're going to verify. Let's check on this. We have to get our farming team ready, to be honest. So my farming team will be comprised of... By the way, Null has the highest rated attack, and that is without any burst. Let's see. We got Noel here. Where's Onion Boy? We got Onion Boy. How long have I not been using Onion Knight? His call ability is Hope. And I think this will be my farming team for Divine Ifrit. Let's see. Summon. Of course, we're gonna do Shiva. Where is he? He's getting a bonkers. Maybe we should also check out a video about this guy. So this guy will be my team for Divine Ifrit. Okay, again, we're just here to check if Onion Knight doesn't. Oh yeah, it doesn't start with. Yeah, doesn't have the. Doesn't have. Yeah, it doesn't have the overhead effect. So for this said, that fears that we should do this. We're gonna do big bang attack. Yep, it doesn't have job level 99 at West Start. So I therefore can admit that the fact is true. Yeah, that's job level 99, this icon above here. So he doesn't have that at Quest Start. Yeah, so this is probably gonna be my farming team for tomorrow. For... When is Divine Ifrit coming? Wednesday. My farming team for Wednesday. Is there a Sid LD video that I can watch and I can react to? Yeah, probably not. Okay. Now that we got that out of the way, let's continue on with the video. Remove this. Yes.
His last HP attack deals full HP damage and now allows for 200% stolen max brave overflow. Now with his overhead, it did get improvements. So now it adds a 40% brave damage up, 10% HP damage up. The party gets a 20% brave damage up and a 10% HP damage up. Now when it comes to Onion Knight's EX ability, so with his EX ability, seeing as how depending on which type of buff you have, whether it be the ninja buff or the sage buff, will be the attack that you deal. So with the ninja buff active, his EX ability now becomes a 6-hit melee brave plus an HP attack 4 times, and it increases HP damage by 40% with a brave potency of 80% per hit. Then if you have the sage buff active, it becomes a 4-hit AoE magic brave plus an AoE HP attack dealt twice with a brave potency of 80% per hit, and it does inflict the ice resist down to all targets for 4 turns after his first HP attack. Now when it comes to his C65, seeing as how that is also going to be getting reworked now that we are in the C90 era. So with his C65, his C65 got extended by 2 turns, so now it lasts for 7 turns instead of 5. Then it also adds party attack up by 20% and a 20% party brave damage cap up. Now with his BT effect, depending on which buff you have, whether it be the sage buff or the ninja buff, will determine what you are going to be getting if you do decide to BT plus Onion Knight. But the one thing to note is that his BT effect got extended by 2 turns instead of the original 6. Now, if you have the ninja buff active, he now adds a party HP damage up by 10%. He also adds to the party a 70% melee and ranged attack up. So originally it was 30%. Now he gets an additional 70, being now 100% for both of them. If you do have Sage buff active when he does his BT attack, he now adds a 70% party magic attack up. So now instead of the 30%, it'll be a 100% for his BT effect. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start off with the
Pretty decent burst effects. Although I'm not gonna go out of my way on chasing Onion Knight. I don't have his burst. I think the only old burst weapon that I've greened is Bart's. And that's saying something.
little knight himself, which is Onion Knight, the, I guess, quote unquote next warrior.
Well, technically, a Squall is in my radar. So I guess he's gonna get greened. And Tidus. Yeah, it's Squall, Tidus, Ramza. They're the Ultimacia. They're the old burst units I'm gonna green. So far on my plan.
Of light, since Homeboy decided to sacrifice himself for the greater good. But of course, I'm gonna let Kaiden take over, like I mentioned earlier in the video, as he is the professional in DFFOO tactics. So welcome back, man. Great to have you.
I don't understand how I keep getting this tactics role. For those who are watching, I keep getting kidnapped, and for some reason, I keep end up in this basement. Help!
Hey, wait a second. You're not supposed to tell him that.
Wait, who's the other guy? I didn't catch it. I'm shocked there's another voice.
Listen. Alright, so I guess talking about this will release me sooner, so we're going to go ahead and talk about Onion Knight here. Onion Knight, when he gets a C90, he definitely gets a couple of changes. Not a lot of changes, just a couple of changes. For the most part, in his rework, it is not going to be touching his skill 1 and skill 2 at all. You still have to use skill 1 and skill 2 in order to get the level 2 version of his job mastery for that setup. But when he does start off, and when he enters the field now, with his LD extensions, and on top of that, I believe the higher level versions of his 85 and C90, he'll be starting off and he'll be joining the field with his overhead active already. So you don't need to press his LD right away. His LD did get a couple of changes. His LD definitely gave him some stats, but it also gave the party stats as well. So it'll be brave damage increase for the party by 20%, and 10% brave. It'll be a 10% HP damage increase for the party. So Onion Knight offers some utility. His C65 definitely got reworked as well. You're going to be looking at brave damage cap up for that, and on top of that, the extension for his turn duration on his C65 increased as well. So it'll no longer be 5, it'll be 7. Now, the thing that everybody pretty much comes here for is his BT effect. His BT effect, if you do green him, changes things up dramatically for him. He does get 2 HP dumps if you're going to be using ninjutsu, or if you're going to be using spellbook, so you'll be able to drop 2 HP dumps now on you. And on top of that, the stats changes for him overall. You'll be looking at the brave damage increase for both sets, if you're going to be using both ninjutsu and spellbook. Spellbook and ninjutsu have different setups though, so you'll be looking at them or think of them as stances. For ninjutsu, you'll be increasing physical damage, so you'll be increasing both physical damage dealers and ranged damage dealers. For spellbook, you'll be increasing nothing but mage damage output, or any magic casters in the situation. So Onion Knight has the ability to be very versatile in his team comps. It just depends on a team comp that you put him in. He also increases HP damage again, and he also increases brave damage. Brave still went over 4 back for this. So he does have a lot in his BT effect, and his BT effect is definitely more for the
So, Sage, I'll get Spellbook Burst. Ninja, I get ninjutsu burst. Ninja will increase melee attack and range attack. Spellbook raises party magic attack.
Versatility of team comps. But ideally, if you're going to be running him, I would definitely say more than anything else, if you're going to be running him, definitely run him in a solid team so that way you know which stance you're going to be in. If you have one of each, you can probably get away with it, but you want the BT effect to benefit everybody in the team, not just two people in the team. Strengths, I will definitely say that he's able to enchant ice and on top of that imperil ice, so he will definitely be able to provide a lot going on there for the team as well. Another strength of his is that he's very self-sufficient, and he does offer, he is able to hit some of his own caps. However, we're going to talk about his defenses, or his, definitely going to talk about his errors here. He does need help in some situations because of the fact that he has only 1 HP dump in both skill 1 and skill 2. His LD did get a change. If you're using his LD, it'll definitely do the one single target damage HP attack at that point, but it definitely offers splash damage. So you're going to be looking at a single HP dump with splash. The second hit of the LD attack will have 100% AoE attached to it, so that is nice. I feel like if you were to increase his HP damage cap overall, it would definitely help him deal more damage. Because he only has 1 HP dump, this is where he kind of gets not the greatest reputation, because his skill 1 and skill 2 only deals, like his skill 1 only has 1 HP dump, but his skill 2, if you have it at level 2, has the full HP value on one target and splash damage on the other. So Onion Knight gets a lot of bad reps. However, a lot of Onion Knight's damage output comes in his forms of his EX now. If you use the Blade Torrent, you'll be looking at 4 HP dumps, and Meteorite will also have 2 HP dumps, but it'll have 2 HP dumps, full HP value to both targets. So they're both 4 each, just one is going to be single target where the other one's going to be AoE based. So you'll be able to really mix it up with him, and you want to really be able to mix it up according to the team members that you have or the damage that you need. Onion Knight is able to hit hard, and on top of that, he's able to hit weakness, but you will still need defense down overall, because as we do go into more of the Rufinia Plus that we plan on going up against sooner, he can equip an ultimate weapon, which is nice with him being C90. However, just because he can equip an ultimate weapon doesn't mean that the boss's stat weights will change. You'll most likely see very, very heavy defensive targets coming up in the future. So you definitely want to keep in mind that debuffs still matter in the situation. And if you can definitely run him with other units who can definitely help benefit him in the middle of either his HP dumps or just his damage output overall, will definitely be very beneficial to him. I can definitely think of one that's currently out right now. If you have pulled her, is Ursula, just because of the fact that her ability or her unique mechanic of making everybody just stay at 20% max brave will definitely help him out overall, because he won't just drop an HP dump and he'll go back to 0. He'll actually do an HP dump and he'll start out at 20% max brave for the next HP dump. So you do have him rolling fairly decent there. Another unit that I could probably think about is Machina if you run him next, if you run those two next to each other, just because of the fact that Machina's BT effect has HP damage cap up, so any unit that can increase HP damage cap will definitely help him tremendously. And another unit that I could definitely think about, if you battery him before his options, or if you battery him before he gets hits in, he may only have 1 HP dump, but you definitely want that 1 HP dump to be max. To not be max is kind of complicated. But overall, I feel like Onion Knight, if you definitely run him with the correct team members, you can definitely make him hit hard and have the other two hit even harder because of how his unique setup works.
Okay, I think that's it for Onion Knight and Null. Insights. I think if I get either verse, I'm still not gonna green them. I'm still on my plan to fully furnish Lock as my VT Plus for C90. But Null's not bad. And Cross will prove it to you. On Knight's not bad. I just don't know who keeps running On Knight, but there is someone that's gonna prove that On Knight is not bad. None of these characters are bad. C90 is the greatest era in DFFOO before the drought that is Shinryu that made me, I don't know. I seldomly played JP in the C90 and now I sparingly played Japan in the C90. Because of Shinryu, because I can't fully upgrade a character there without spending character points. I used to put 3,000 just for the LD and now I'm forced to upgrade them thoroughly. Anyway, no, on the night, good options. Good options. It's your choice who you're gonna max. C90, greatest era, best era ever. Now, let's go. Let's try Sid LD. I will upload this to YouTube. And alright, Sarah is getting a rework. Alright, Simp.
Alright guys, welcome back to
You're getting
another
an extra
Opera
entry on my
Omnia
list.
video where we're going to be talking about two characters who shall be receiving their C90s alongside with No and Onion Knight, which is Sid and Sarah.
Which
now with these two
are,
characters, Sid
it's which are Sid and Sarah. You're talking about two, not which is Sid and Sarah. Which are.
is going to be getting his LD weapon finally and a rework, while Sarah already has her LD weapon. So for players who missed out on her LD weapon previously, you now have another chance of picking it up, but she is only going to be getting a rework. But is it actually worth chasing for either of these two characters with the upcoming pair banners that are going to be released with Divine Ifrit? Now, I went ahead and put together some slides once again for you guys, because you guys really do enjoy the slides, and I appreciate the feedback, or the continuous feedback on the slides and whatnot. And it seems like it makes things a little bit more easier and understandable when I am talking about said characters, which is a good thing, because that's, at the end of the day, that's what I really want the most out of my my videos, and the slides especially. So I'm glad that they are helping out a lot of people when it comes to these videos. But yeah, we're going to be talking about all of that. We're going to look at the slides, and then towards the end of the video, I'll let you guys know whether or not it is actually worth pulling for any of these two characters. So, as always, if you guys do enjoy the video, consider liking the video and subscribing for future Opera Omnia content. Let's go ahead and...
Yeah, let's do it. Like. Okay. I'm already subscribed, guys.
jump into it, guys. Let's talk about Sid, Sarah, and then whether or not it is worth pulling for them. So let's first start off with Sid's rework. So his skill 1 now lets him deal 80% splash HP damage. His skill 2 becomes a 4-hit wind ranged brave plus an HP attack 2 times. His EX ability. So with his EX extension, it makes his attack deal full HP damage and also becomes AoE. It also inflicts wind resist down for 6 turns after his first HP attack. His C65 extension adds a 35% attack up, now being a total of 50%, and also adds brave damage cap up by 40%, or Sid will be able to do up to 13,998. Now, Sid's LD ability is a pretty good LD ability because, of course, I mean, Sid is a straight up damage dealer. I mean, he impels himself, he impels the enemy, he enchants himself with wind enchant, making him easily dealing that weakness damage onto the enemy. So with Sid's LD ability, though, it's a 1-hit distributed wind ranged brave plus an AoE HP attack 9 times. Now, that 1-hit distributed basically means that it'll just like attack any of the targets, really. Like it'll distribute the amount of brave hits between whatever amount of targets it is that you are going up against, whether it be 2, 3, and so on and so forth, which I think that's only been up to 3 so far. So he also recovers brave in between HP attacks, except for the last, and deals split HP damage to all targets. He also inflicts the wind resist down to all targets after the first HP attack. So he's pretty much like guaranteed to always imperiling the enemies every single time he attacks with most of his abilities. Now, with this LD ability, he does gain a new overhead, and whenever you use this LD ability, he grants 1 stack of this new overhead. Now, with this overhead, High Wind Take to the Skies, it gives him the following things: Wind Enchant by 20%, HP damage up by 20%, attack up by 40%, Stolen Max Brave Overflow by 30%. It triggers the Bombs Away follow-up attack while at 3 stacks after
Follow-up attack. Oh, right. Yeah. Sid has a follow-up attack that triggers at 3 stacks. It's the High Wind gonna bomb the enemy. It's pretty quite awesome. That's why I'm throwing tickets on Sid, and I think I'm gonna max him. For the first time after 3 years of Opera Omnia, I'm about to use Sid.
any party action except for his, and it increases whenever Sid
I believe there's a content creator called John Belmont. He has Sid set up as a support in JP. And if Sid is a support on JP, you're pretty sure you're gonna get mileage out of Sid for a long time.
is attacking a target. Now, the Bombs Away follow-up attack increases the party's brave by 100% of their attack, and then follows up with a 2-hit distributed wind ranged brave plus an AoE HP attack 6 times, and this does deal split HP damage, and once again it does inflict the wind resist down to all targets for 6 turns after his first HP attack, and then it does consume two out of the 3 stacks for his overhead. And again, to increase it, you have to let Sid attack a target, and it'll go up by 1. So now we'll move into Sarah's rework. Now, Sarah's rework didn't get too much, sadly, and I'm a little disappointed.
I mean, as for global, it's a little bit of a disappointment. But in Japan, this rework was big. You know? The reason why in global it's a bit of a disappointment because we had an improved Sarah character board, LD board, and in Japan she got the original character board, and that was kinda the point. And I think the incremental upgrades of Sarah on her rework with her boards is fail the comparison on what we got in her JP.
Disappointed that they didn't really give her as much as I was expecting her to have when she finally got all of this in JP. So with a skill 1, the skill 1 deals 2 brave hits, but it still deals only 1 HP attack in her attack, and now has 150% stolen max brave overflow. The plus version has 2 more brave hits, now being 4, and has 2 HP dumps instead of 1. That increases the party's brave by 20% of the HP damage dealt, and this also allows for 150% stolen max brave overflow, and it did get an additional 2 uses. Now with a skill 2, the skill 2 is now 3 brave hits. I made a small typo there. Allows for 150% stolen max brave overflow, and the attack down debuff that she inflicts is now a 70% attack down. Now the plus version is a 2-hit AoE magic brave plus an AoE
70% attack down isn't bad. I just wish vanilla is coming.
HP attack 3 times. It allows for 150% stolen max brave overflow. She increases brave by 20% after each HP attack except for the last. She also increases the party's brave by 20% of the HP damage dealt after her last HP attack. Her LD did get a rework as well, so her LD inflicts a 70% attack down instead of the previous 20% attack down. Her attack now deals a 4-hit AoE plus an AoE HP attack 4 times that increases Brave by 20% of the HP damage dealt after each HP attack. Her debuffs now become Frame, and the buff Tears of Hope now extends inflicted debuffs by 3 turns, and the party now gets...
I mean, that is kind of fixing her problem. Her problem is debuffs often run out in duration, given that how fast enemies are. And if you recall, Sarah's aura depends on how many debuffs the enemies have. So if the enemies just wasted the debuffs, the aura weakens. Now, extending this, Sarah won't have to keep on reapplying the debuff, which is kind of okay. It's okay. It fixes her.
A 50% Brave damage up and a 25% HP damage up. Those are some really good percentages for the Brave damage up and HP damage up. They are almost as close as some of the BT unit, if not the same as some of the BT units effects. Not entirely the same thing, but they come very close. Now with an EX extension, it now extends the Brave gain to the party and increases it to 150% of their attack. Then she deals a 4-hit magic Brave plus an HP attack 2 times, and that's it. That's her EX. Even though she does battery the power of the party before she deals an HP attack, I kind of feel like it's not really enough. Like, I feel like they could have gone a little bit more with...
I agree. I think they could have done a little bit more with Sarah. I mean, single HP attack on skill 1. That kind of blows out the norm, to be honest. That seems kind of lackluster.
With her EX extension. Afterwards, she does increase the party's Brave by 50% of the HP damage dealt. Her EX buff also increases her attack by 60%, now being at 80%. And then finally, her C65 extension got extended by 2 turns, now being 7 turns. She also adds the following things whenever you use her C65. So for the party gets a stolen and gained max Brave overflow up by 10% and also gets a Brave gains up by 10%. So now we get to the point in the video where you guys decide whether or not it is worth pulling for Sid or Sarah's LD weapon with the upcoming 2 banners. Now with Sid gets some big upgrades with his LD ability, with his EX extension, making him and those 2 abilities a very strong heavy damage dealer. Now his skill 1 and skill 2, they're not really all that. I mean, yeah, the 80% splash HP damage and the extra HP dump on his skill 2, you know, it's something, right? But other than that, I mean, that's pretty much it. Like, really the main thing you're going to be focusing on with Sid is going to be with his EX ability and with his LD and the overhead and the follow-up attack that only kicks in with your allies after they, you know, deal their abilities and whatever it is that they are doing, right? So right there and then, just knowing the fact that since we're not going to be using his skill 1, his skill 2, probably hardly that, I already have an LD weapon, his EX ability, then Sid is definitely not a bad option at all. I mean, you can easily do some pretty good numbers with Sid. Now with Sarah though, Sarah, in my opinion, the rework that she got, it, oh my god, like look, I don't want to make myself sound like I am picking one over the other in this video, but like Sarah's rework, in my opinion, it was not really all that. The only thing that actually saves her from me being like okay, just straight up skipper is the fact that she does get an upgrade to the brave damage up increase and the HP damage up increase via her her LD buff. So I mean, she does have some usage in her kit. I mean, she does battery the party with some of her skills. She is able to inflict some like 3 or 4 debuffs, one of them being like poison, max brave down, and I forget what the other one is. Attack down. So I mean, she does have her uses, but if you want me to be 100% honest with you guys, seeing as how especially later on in the future, even though we are in like the quote-unquote garbage time that a lot of players have been mentioning, or that I've been hearing around, I feel like after a very short while, she's probably gonna be benched, only because there are gonna be some other characters coming up very soon that will easily overlook her, like overtake her, over whatever, in terms of what they actually provide to the party, where they provide a whole lot more. Even though, don't get me wrong, like I said earlier in the video, that percentage that you got with the brave damage increase and the HP damage increase is very good percentages for what they gave her. So like, that's really the only reason that I would say that, you know, if you got extra tickets, or if she's a favorite, I would say you could probably throw some tickets at her. But other than that, I already have an LD weapon, so I'm not too worried about it. But outside of like the Ifrit fight, it's like, I think I'm going to stick around with like my other support units and not be too concerned with Sarah. So, and again, I'm not trying to make it seem like I'm picking, or I mean, it probably does sound that way, but I really am not. I'm just being 100% honest with you guys. As much as I did enjoy Sarah way back in the day, I'm not too impressed with her rework. And really the only thing that saves her, in my opinion, is that brave damage up percentage and the HP damage up percentage. But you guys let me know down in the comment section below what you guys think. How do you guys feel about both of these two characters with the upcoming banners? And yeah, with that being said, if you guys do enjoy the video, consider liking the video and subscribing for future Opera Omnia content. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys in my next video.
Very nice. I mean, I already got Sarah Max, so I only care about Sid for tomorrow. Yeah. Let's react to the last video. Ultimate Weapon. 11 minutes.
Hello YouTube, it's time to talk about Ultima weapons. It's actually hilariously simple. True story, I went months without knowing how these things worked in JP. I just saw bigger numbers, but it's kind of cool. Not very exciting ultimately, but it is what it is. So I'm gonna talk about in this video what they are, how you build them. I'm not gonna bother doing a C90 video because that's really boring upgrades. EX gets better, and you get additional ability buff. Who cares? But this is going to be advice near the end based on my JP experience, so you all get the best experience. Don't make my mistakes. So while you're here, go ahead and like the video, subscribe, hit the bell, check out Ranting Hour and my recent co-op rant. That video got immediately demonetized because I was swearing too much. So it's not doing too well in the algorithm. So if y'all could check that out, that'd be great. You can also support the channel for $1. You get guaranteed replies to your comments and you get emotes. So without further ado, let's keep it moving. What are Ultima weapons? They are a new weapon for C90 characters. They are universal. They are the strongest usable weapon. So you got your BTs, you got your EXs, even with FR down the line, or LDs, UW Ultima weapons will be the weapon you're going to want to equip. They provide both HP damage up and HP cap up, or M-Brave cap up, but the highest HP damage that you can reach on a character, they boost that. So here's some of the numbers. Thank you to Cydia Compendium for putting this little graphic together. But you can see at base, you get HP damage up by 10% and HP cap up by 10%. And if you get the weapon all the way to 5 out of 5 limit breaks, you get 40% HP damage up and 40% HP cap up. So 30% is like twins and Yuna level BTs, and having that on a single character is nuts. And to top it all off, all these numbers stack. So if you got a burst effect going, you got Heimer plus in the background, ultimate weapons will stack on top of all this stuff. It's a lot of damage. So what you're wondering now is, how do you get ultimate weapons? Well, first off, the unit needs to be C90 in order to use them. That's very important. And you craft them with cores. So how do you get these cores? First off, there's C90 character missions. You get 10 cores for raising a unit to crystal level 90. So do the co-op, do the event, assuming you get all the crystals, raise them up to 90. You get 10 more, and you get 5 more if you beat a Lufenia with that unit. Note, not plus, just regular Lufenia. It can be any Lufenia fight, and there are 3 slots per fight. So once you use 3 C90 characters on a Lufenia, you cannot use that mission to get any more. You cannot use that mission to get any more cores, so you can't just keep running 8's Lost Chapter over and over and over again to get cores. Once you run 3 C90s there, you will be locked out. You can see in the third row, there's a new area, and this is where you can access the ultimate weapon stuff. Once you're in the menu, you can see the 10 and the 5, and I have Enna Crow highlighted, the 10 being get them to 90, and the 5 do a Lufenia with them. And there's actually a nifty little menu up top. You can click on, and you can see who is potentially locked where, how many slots you have done. So you can see in this topmost one, I ran Yang and Lion and Lunafreya in the recent thing, and then I have Reno and Ash and Alice in the Reno intersecting well. And you can actually jump there with the blue button. That's pretty handy. So the other ways to get cores are via Premium Mog Pass, the $40 one. You get 20 more per event. The 6 Warrior Quest also gives 100 for completing it, and there's probably some other random stuff I don't.
This is something that I've said in earlier of the stream. Yeah, Premium Mog Pass, you get 20 more per event, so you can max an Ultima weapon faster if you have the Premium Mog Pass. Else, I don't have a Mog Pass in Japan. You can max an Ultima weapon in the course of how many months? I guess. So yeah. So if you want to speed up the maxing of Ultima weapons, there you go, Mog Pass.
Remember campaigns, etc. No way to account for those, but that's the gist of how you're going to be getting your cores. And there's going to be like 4 new 90s on every new BT event, and then like 2 per event, and Lost Chapter, Intersecting Lore, what have you. But every time someone gets 90, that's at least 15 more cores you're getting. So they actually add up quicker than you might realize. And here's an example of the Ultima weapon extra cores being attached to the Premium Pass. You can see it right there. And I don't have Premium Pass in JP, but the little icon is there. So I think if you run the Chaos and is it the Lufenia? It's something else you got to do. But yeah, complete it, you're good. Get 10 more per event. So now, how do you actually get the Ultima weapon? Now that we've established how you get the cores, it costs 50 cores to get your first Ultima weapon per weapon type. So say you want to get a sword, that's going to be 50. You want to get a gun, that's going to be 50. It's 150 cores per limit break. So if you got a sword and you want to get to limit break 1, you can just spend 150 for a total of 200. It is 150 at base for extras. So say you got 1 sword already and you want to get a second sword. To purchase that second sword, it's going to cost you 150 cores. This screen is showing the initial purchase screen. You can see I don't have any daggers, so it'll cost me 50, but I do have a sword and a great sword, so it would cost me 150 to get an extra copy of either one of those. The other tab is showing off what you already have. Additionally, it's showing this is where you would actually upgrade. So you can see on my staff and the gun and the throwing, if I were to upgrade those, it would cost 150. And my staff, no, it's not a staff, that's a spear. My spear and my sword are already maxed, so they can't go any farther. There is also an Ultima weapon refund. This happens once a month. It came later in JP. I don't remember exactly when it came. Someone else knows. We do not know when it will come in global. But if it comes on release, great. But if not, it is what it is. You get a full refund. So say you got 5 out of 5, that's 800 cores total. You can get all those cores back and push them somewhere else. Here's the refund screen. As you can see, like I just said, it'd be 800 to get my maxed weapons back, and it would be 50 for the base weapons that I have. So just full unconditional refund, but only once. It resets once a month. That's my understanding, at least. That might be wrong. So now that's pretty much all that matters. It doesn't take long to explain that. It's super hilariously simple. Best practices from my experience in JP, focus on one 5 out of 5 on a DPS. You'll feel that.
Yes. Focus on one ultimate weapon. In Japan, I got like 3 ultimate weapon, 1 special, 1 gun, and 1 great sword. Even though I maxed out the great sword, having one, if you focus on one, you can make most of the mileage and you can save your resources for a new ultimate weapon you want to max in the future. Of course, the ultimate weapon you want to max depends on what you want. So yeah, I agree.
That way more building towards that over time than multiple 0 out of 5s across the line. I mean, it's the difference between like a Fran call and maybe like a slight high armor plus on like your selfie and your Ignises. Congrats, they're 2 HP attacks. You're gonna really feel that extra HP cap up. Alternatively, you'll feel it way more on people like Titus who have like a bajillion HP attacks. That will scale way harder. Additionally, if you have 1 5 out of 5, you can use that 1 refund to respec onto a new main DPS. And you can, or whoever you feel like focusing on the time, you'll have that 5 out of 5 jumping all over the place rather than just scrambling and making things work on 0 to 5. Because trust me, once you get to 5 out of 5, going back to 0 to 5 or no ultimate weapon feels like garbage, especially in Shinryu where they start giving bosses passive HP damage reduction. You're gonna miss out on those 5 out of 5. So trust me, focusing on 1 5 out of 5 is the move. Additionally, don't spread them out. Like I just said, you want to avoid having benched 0 out of 5s. Like I showed before where I had my 0 to 5 Palom, that staff isn't doing anything because I'm not running any staves because I kind of don't want to because running 0 to 5 feels kind of bad. 3 0 to 5s is actually worth 1 limit break, 150 cores. That could be 10% HP damage up and cap on your DPSs. So your Machinas, your Tituses, your Canes could be doing a lot more damage because they have so many HP attacks versus that 0 to 5 that you might not even be using at the moment. Pretty much just useless because you're not using it. That's the equivalent of like a Fran call and a high armor plus. That can be a significant damage bump and save you a lot of time in your runs if you put on the person who's doing a lot of damage. And here's just me showing that off again. I mean, I use Orin, I don't use Cisne much, I don't use Vincent much, so those 3 could be refunded, and I could feel a lot better about not having them sit on the bench and occasionally be thrown in. Additionally, I guess this is not the best advice.
I also have a Fist ultimate weapon when Prish was released. And I could have used it to max out my special ultimate weapon, which is currently being used by Ultimacia. So yeah, choose wisely, like what the slide is saying.
But choose wisely. Start preparing for who you will use. Get your favorites in mind. You love Ramza. You want to start building the sword for him, and you could just throw that sword on units down the line until you get the 5 out of 5 and just save it for Ramza. So favorites, meta, etc. I know a lot of you are getting hyped for Locke. Start building your daggers now, get it to 5 out of 5, and then when Zac rolls around and you switch to him using the meta, you respec it then and then get the 5 out of 5 greatsword on Zac, and you don't feel any downtime on the people you're running the most. If you can't decide, don't. Honestly, ultimate weapons are just kinda overkill in Lufenia Plus. They stop scaling the boss HP up unless there's some, I mean, this is all subject to change, obviously, but if something radical changes in global, you'd account for that. But if you're doing enough damage and you don't feel the need for ultimate weapon, just let the chorus chill. Invest in your current DPS if you're running the same unit a lot. Just try and get them as far as possible, or you could choose from the most used weapons in the game. And I listed the numbers here again, thanks to Compendium for listing all the people out. This is based on current JP, but you can see a pretty obvious trend here. Unique, greatsword, and sword are the most spread out. Staff and fist are next after that, and then we start getting a little lower with dagger, spear throwing, and gun, bow, and whip are honestly really low. So like if you're probably safest off going with unique, greatsword, or sword, just because there's so many of those characters in the game. That's all though. I mean, really, there really ain't much to talk about. So let me know in the comments what ultimate weapon you're building first and for who. Personally, I'm going to start building sword so I can use Furion. I also have Queen, who I plan on using on a couple of fights again with her 90, but then that's going to Furion. And then I might respec it down the line when Cloud gets his BT plus and 90, so I can throw it on him and run him a lot. But as long as you focus on one, I think you'll have the easiest time with ultimate weapon. Don't overcomplicate it. All these Reddit spreadsheets and planners, etc., really aren't that deep. Just grind out the missions when they come. Don't let them stack back up because it feels like garbage. And that's it. Let me know if I missed anything. If you have any more questions, hit me up in the comments. I'll catch you guys in the next video.
What I like about Black Nero is he's consistent on spamming that bell icon. So yeah. What am I
Good luck
building?
in C90. Catch you later.
Of course,
Peace.
great sword. So when Squall gets his C90, I can equip it already. So yeah. I